Everybody, but welcome to the 11th annual Calumet Heritage Conference. I know we'll be seeing some more people later during the day, but we should make sure that we move as close to on time as we possibly can. My name is Mark Bowman. I'm the president of the Calumet Heritage Partnership, and I'd like to introduce Dr. John Kilpinen, who's the Dean of the College of Arts and Sciences here at Valparaiso University, and who doesn't just happen to be a geographer, but he is a geographer and a really good one about the Calumet region. So John, welcome.
Well, thank you all for being here. It's great to see you. Just a pleasure on my part to welcome you on behalf of the university. I think that I've had the privilege over the years of some remarkable places to live. As I grew up as a kid, I lived in two really remarkable places in terms of what I learned about local history. I lived in Dearborn, Michigan. Had occasion as a kid to take several field trips to Henry Ford's Greenfield Village. I lived in San Antonio, Texas after that, and the mission complex there and the Alamo acquainted me with other aspects of local history. But it wasn't until I came here as a student to BU that I really gained, I think, a deeper appreciation for local history, because both in Dearborn and in San Antonio, the history that I observed as a kid and as a young student, as somebody learning, seemed to be time capsule-like. There was not a connection forward to the present. At least it didn't seem obvious to me. But as I came here as a student at this university and started to take courses in geography and history, so I had occasion to go to the Pullman community in Chicago, to the Dunes, to the Bailey Homestead, but then seeing through the work of some remarkable people the connections forward to what that history means to the region. So I got a much fuller appreciation, I think, for how dynamic local history can be, particularly the idea of tying that to the way things are today and what happens in a region that links back to the past. And I saw that much more vividly here than I ever did in Dearborn or in San Antonio. And I think that in part there's some reasons for that. Some of it has to do simply with the local mindset. It has to do with organizations like this one, the Calumet Heritage Partnership, which goes out of its way to make those kinds of linkages, to talk about the importance of the past for the present. And then I was exposed to some very good research, remarkable research by Alfred Meyer, who worked for years here at the university and put scores of students out studying different aspects of the Calumet, some of it very historical, dealing with some of the earliest phases of settlement, some of it very contemporary, dealing with industrialization issues of urban planning, environmental issues. And so I think that all of that work really crystallized in my mind how important this region is and how interesting and dynamic it is. So I really applaud the efforts that all of you put into understanding the environment, the heritage of our history, of our culture in this area, and I think it's great. And I'm really pleased to see how many of our students and different faculty members and departments engage with this region. We certainly have environmental interests, so I know our biology, chemistry, environmental science, geography, and meteorology programs are constantly taking students out on field trips. You'll get to experience one of those yourselves today. Hopefully the weather will hold up just long enough for that. But we also have a lot of cultural interests. I know that our history department is interested in doing more with local history. Another program here on campus, the Willie Fellows program, just brought on an assistant director whose interest is in local history, labor and urban history, gender issues. She has great interest in the South Chicago region and in this area across the border in Indiana. So I know there's a lot of interest here. And as you can see in the displays next door, the ties in with the art community are very rich as well. We have a fabulous museum here in the building next door in the Center for the Arts. And some of those initiatives have paid off very, very well. We've had various art displays. There's some tremendous collections of paintings that have to do with the dunes and with the Calumet. Recent book project that Craig Kurtzley did on photographic representation of the Calumet region. And some of our art students have been out with Professor Yankee, as I'm sure he'll tell you about, doing depictions of the sand islands and various other environmental areas. So I think for me, you tie in that local history dimension with the way that the Calumet Heritage Partnership deals with not just historical issues, but also cultural and environmental, and the way that those all work together. Really, really remarkable work. So applaud the efforts that you all put in. Really appreciate it. Appreciate the ways that you engage this university and other institutions like IU Northwest, Chicago State. Great network of schools. We've got great partnerships with each other. So keep up the great work. We really appreciate it. Have a great day. I think despite the weather, you've got a great slate of programs for today. It's a good group of people. So welcome to campus. Have a wonderful experience.
Thank you. Thank you very much, John. John's been very, very supportive of all the work that the Heritage Partnership does. He was supportive as a dean, as a faculty member, as a department chair for that. And as he alluded to, part of the heritage of the region is the research heritage of the region, much of which was conducted right from this place. So 4 years ago when we met here, in a building that's no longer here, we spent some time considering the work of Alfred Meyer, and we'll spend a few minutes talking about that too. A couple of logistical things. We have plenty of room, so stretch out. But you may feel more comfortable if you're kind of in the middle, although I think the view is pretty good from wherever you are here. 2 rooms down that way, there's coffee and donuts and juice. Restrooms are that way. The program has us breaking around 10:30, and there is a display, a particular display from the Brower Museum of Art, which really touches on a lot of the themes of today's discussion today. And Greg Bertsley will be right there at 10:30 and can talk us through some of the things that he's got right in hand. So that's really terrific, Greg. Thank you very much for that. I want to frame just a couple of the issues that we'll be discussing today, and nothing terribly formal, but just a few thoughts about where the partnership is. Now, this region is a dunes part of the world. In fact, here in Valparaiso, we're about as close as you can get in a higher education institution to a national park like the Dunes National Lakeshore. Those of you looking at this map very carefully will realize that I put a dot in Arizona, and it should be in New Mexico. So if there's any geographers in the room, there's about 10 of them in here. So this is really the point, though. When you scale those dots of dunes-related national monuments and parks, and you scale them by population, this is the region that really puts together the natural resources and the human resources. This is the region where questions of human impact on the environment, of what the environment offers to people, how people have made a very special place, is most in view in the United States. We call it the Calumet Region. This is a map that was made that drew very heavily on the work of folks like Ken Schoon and Alfred Meyer, and was made especially for something called the Calumet Summit that was held in April of this year at Purdue, where we got a couple hundred people in the room for a couple of days to talk about some of the environmental aspects of the area. I think the Calumet Heritage Partnership has a lot to contribute on the social and cultural side, as well as integrating it with the environmental aspects. We take kind of a wide regional view, and we also take kind of a long historical view. When you look at the boundaries of this map, it's 1 3/4 million people, which you should tell your family at dinner tonight. That's more people than in metropolitan Indianapolis.